Hello, my friend, and welcome to Peet Junior High School, Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15. Very proud to bring the Peet and Holmes 7th grade football game. It's the game that everybody looks forward to if you're in a 7th grade uniform. Hi, I'm Jeremiah Longnecker. Thanks for spending some time with me as we get a chance to see these two teams and what they bring to the table as they some of the upcoming Tigers. It's a beautiful afternoon here at Peet Junior High School. Peet will get the ball first. As you can see, they are to our left. Holmes will kick off. They are in the white uniforms. They are to our right. Kicking team getting some last instructions before they boot it away. Wind is blowing from right to left. That could be a factor in the kicking game and certainly in field position. See all the cars that are lined up across the street, or at least across the field. Got a great vantage point. You see some trucks with lawn chairs in the back of the trucks, people lining the fence, and a good crowd in front of us to watch this one. A couple of teams squaring off that are over 500. Peet 4-1 on the season. Holmes 3-2 on the season. Both teams have lost to Waverly Shell Rock in tight affairs. Holmes did lose a game to Hoover in their second game of the year in a tight one, 16-14. The whistle is blown, and we're underway with the kickoff. Kickoff is going deep, and it will eventually be taken at about the 12-yard line. Cutting it back across the field comes the return man for Peet. He's got some room. He's tackled out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. A good stick there by the kicking team. And Peet will line up on offense and get the first crack at this. Good return. So Peet's offense, they'll be headed by Ben Girdman. Ben's the quarterback. He split some time early in the season. Ben has taken over full time. They really like the way he is commanding the offense. And he's got some weapons, does Ben. One of those is the returner that you just saw. That was Caleb Dickey. You see Dickey's speed is he was able to reverse field, come all the way across before being met by Ty Turnier. So we got the chain gang straightened out. I think that's the hold up and the action right now. One of the head coaches for Holmes is Brad Pierce-Baker. He's helping the chain gang get set on the near sideline. Brad, one of the longtime coaches in 7th grade football. He's joined by Kevin Keeker and Jerry Ward. The three of them have been heading up the 7th grade team for a while. Across the way, it's Nick Klein, who's the head man for Peet. Under center is Peet. And the give, looks like maybe this is to Ricky Titus. Titus is quickly, he's tackled by Turnier, so 2 plays, 2 Turnier tackles. Looks like it's going to be a loss of 2, 2nd and 12 for Peet. We'll take a look at the starters as we go through this. Isaac Kramer is the starting center for Peet. And the give for, looks like we're going to see a gain of 3 or 4. And that's Ricky Titus again, so a couple of carries for Titus. Check that, they're going to give him a little bit more than that. I'm going to say a pickup of 6, so 3rd and 6 for Peet. Other offensive linemen across the front, Landon Waseskuk, Hayden Bowman, Major King Britt, and Carson Rodriguez, the offensive lineman. And we got another give. This time Titus is tripped up. A short gain. They're going to give him 1. That brings up 4th and 5. We'll see what the decision is. First decision of the ball game goes to Nick Klein. And by all appearances, it looks like he's going to go for it on his own 45-yard line. We got a 2 tight end set for Peet. Zimmerman. And this pass is on its way, and it's going to be just a little too deep. This one intended for Caleb Dickey. And Peet turns over the ball on downs. It'll be a Holmes opportunity to score first in this one. Good field position for the Holmes Tigers. And they'll trot out with Lincoln Walsworth as the quarterback. Holmes does have a couple of players who are not playing in that offensive front. Cooper Bowman is out with an illness, and Elijah Hansel out with a broken wrist. So the starting guards for Holmes out of this one. So Holmes lines up, 2 receivers to the near side, make that 3. Maybe the tailback makes up the 3rd, and pass behind the line of scrimmage. I thought maybe we had a double pass for a moment, but instead it goes to Bracky Bryan. Looks like Bryan's going to pick up about 6 yards on the play. Wonder if they're setting up the double pass for that. Was clearly a lateral. So 2nd and 5 for Holmes as they pick up 5 on first down. Holmes in an unbalanced set to the right side and try to load it up. Bryan comes around. We do have a flag on the field. So Bryan's got some room to run. Looks like he's going to go a long ways. We'll see pending the penalty. Bryan is going to score, but let's see what's going to happen here. The white hat never moved. Certainly in the area of holding. I don't know if that's what we're going to get or not. And in fact, that's exactly what we're going to get. So the touchdown called back. And instead of being on top 6-0, Holmes is going to find itself in a 2nd and 15 situation. Flag came out early in the play. Given the fact that this is not college or pro, we will not reveal the identity of the player. Kevin Keeker will send in the play, and he does so. Luke Terwilliger and Wesley Harris taking the play for Holmes. Same set that we saw on first down, or fairly close. Looks like we got a diamond set. 4 receivers off here to the left. Pass just a little too tall. Looking for Mason Smith, who's wearing number 77 as a tight end. He was opposite the 4 receiver set. Walsworth just overthrew him, and maybe a touch behind him brings up 3rd and 15. See what Holmes has up its sleeve. Not a lot of offenses in general have 3rd and 15 plays. And Holmes will go back to its 2 tight end set. Bryan in the backfield. And they're going to give on the fullback dive. That's given off to Ty Turnier. Turnier quickly hauled in. It looks like maybe a 2-yard loss. Holmes trying to just pick up a little bit, it looked like, in order to set up a 4th and a little bit shorter. But instead, we got a 4th and 17. It appears as though Holmes will have to pump this away. Nope. Check that. Holmes will not punt it away. Listen to their short punt set. They are. Check that. Quarterback Walsworth still in the game, but he's the personal protector. Snap, a little bit wide, but the kick is still off. And this one's going to roll for a while. It might go into the end zone. Let's see, it's hauled in. We'll see what the referee says. No, it's hauled in. Great job from Holmes as they get a down putt by Wesley Harris. Harris hustling down the field. Don't have a particularly great angle, but that ball is definitely inside the 5-yard line. And Peet's going to have a long field. Looks like it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 3-yard line for Peet. So Holmes plays the field position game after they are unable to come up with the first down. Both teams come up empty on their first series. So here comes Peet again. Takari Simmons, one of the wide receivers, to the near side. Caleb Dickey to the far side. Handoff up the middle. Say if a game of 4 or 5, I didn't see if that was Titus or not. He's carried the ball already a few times. And in fact, it was. That was Ricky Titus already with his 4th carry of the game. Peet gets a little room, maybe a pickup of 6 Again, our press box isn't particularly high, so seeing down towards the end zone is a little bit tough. We're going to call it 2nd and 4. Good first down gain. Handoff again, this time. Oh, there. Holmes is saying there's a fumble on the play, and in fact, there was. The ball was stripped. And it's number 3 for Holmes who comes up with it. That's Chris Wright. So I didn't see who came up with the strip, but it is Wright who recovers it. Holmes has the ball deep in Peet's territory. So punting on 4th down sets up the long field for Peet. And then the turnover is going to give it to him 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. So yeah, those quick changes that all coaches practice. See if the Peet defense can stiffen here. Holmes, again, looking to try to score first. A little bit of confusion on the set. Shotgun formation, Walsworth flanked by a couple. And we've got a reverse, and there is nobody here. Beautiful call, great block, and we've got a touchdown, our first one of the game. So Brian with the 12-yard touchdown run gives Holmes the first score of the game. That comes at the 3:16 mark of the first quarter. Let's see what Holmes decides to do here. Appears as though the offense is still in the game, and it is, so they will go for 2. Walsworth under center. He gives the toss out to Brian. Oh, great lead block. That frees Brian. He got a terrific lead block from number 22. That's Ty Turnier. And the 2-point conversion is good. And we've got a score of 8-0. Holmes on top. Turnover so big in football and even bigger in 7th grade football. Holmes draws up the trick play. An excellent call on 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Caught everybody, and they had just a swarm of lead blockers for Brian to be able to score there. So Peet will get its 3rd possession after this kickoff. Somebody is missing from the kickoff team. Xavier Walker Baruth comes in. And now we're set to go. Ty Turnier is kicking off. Saw a couple of 2s. That's in fact what it is. Turnier kick is going to go out of bounds, and that's going to give Peet excellent field position as the flag comes down. Looks like Peet's going to start from its 40-yard line as Holmes is guilty of the infraction of kicking the ball out of bounds. So check that. It's 35 in junior high football. First and 10 for the Peet Tigers. Still trying to get something going. Couple of possessions. No first downs. They got stopped on downs in their first possession and turned it over in the second play of their second possession. No, Peet's going to stay. No, they are going to go a pro set. In fact, they give it deep, and it is quickly stopped. Looks like Titus again on the carry. And just nothing doing as Holmes has controlled the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Brings up 2nd and 10. Again, Holmes without a couple of their players, Cooper Bowman and Elijah Hansel. Elijah Hansel, one of their best defensive linemen, not able to play. But so far, Holmes has done well without his services. A give on the reverse. Here comes Dickey. Oh, nice cut by Dickey. He gets back outside. He's near a first down. He's going to be a couple of yards short. That Klein said this guy is electric with the football. And they try to get the ball in his hands in a variety of ways, and they do it this time as via the reverse. going to bring third. We'll call it 1. Peet trying to keep its defense off the field and try to collect their first down of this ball game so far. Clock continues to tick. 2 minutes left on the first quarter clock. I formation for Peet. The give again, and it's going to be close. I'm not sure if Titus got there or not. Looks like the referees are signaling that it is going to be 4th down, and in fact it is. Maybe a couple of inches gained on the 3rd down play. See what Peet decides to go to here. I don't know if they're going to try to draw him off sides and then go with the play itself. And no snap. Holmes shows the discipline. Now Peet calls a timeout. Still remains to be seen whether they decide to punt it away or go for it on 4th down. A relatively large decision here early in this game. Again, Peet going into the wind might be part of Nick Klein's thinking that it's difficult punting into the wind. They might not gain a lot of advantage. We got to see the punt from Holmes earlier roll all the way down inside the 5-yard line. Let's see what Nick Klein comes up with. The officials do confer. Talk about the game situation, what to look for at this moment. We've seen an awful lot of Ricky Titus so far for Peet, the tailback. Titus largely been held in check by this Holmes defense. Holmes believes that Peet is going to go for it. They've come out with their regular defense. Quarterback's under center. We're in a pro set. Oh, he's stopped. Titus not able to get there. It's Ty Turnier on the stop. Big play. And that's 2 times that Peet's turned it over on downs as Turnier comes up with the big play. Not only does Titus not get to the 1st down marker, he loses a yard on the play. Now it's Holmes again with excellent field position. 1st down and 10 from the 43-yard line of Peet. Momentum clearly on the side of the Holmes Tigers right now. 1 minute and 2 seconds to go in the opening quarter. The Holmes sends trip receivers to the far side in an empty set. Only Walsworth in the backfield right now. Walsworth looks, he's throwing it down the field and it's just a little deep. He's looking for Luke Terwilliger on the seam pass. Terwilliger well covered. Walsworth really nowhere to go with that football. Smart play by him. Just overthrow the receivers. 2nd down and 10 for Holmes. He's really opened up the offense so far. Looks like Brandon Shepard on the far side is receiver. And the give is straight up to the fullback. And it will also go as no gain. Well, let's just call this a loss of 2. So both defensive lines asserting themselves. Take that back. We're going to say a loss of 4. That's going to be 3rd and 14. See if any more exotics are in the playbook for the Holmes coaching staff. Again, Kevin Keeker sending out the plays. Terwilliger along with Harris come on out. Holmes will have to run a play, although we're going to get a timeout. So Kevin Keeker out to talk to his team. I don't know if they didn't have the correct personnel in, or if they just decided they wanted something else. Drew Budke checks in as well. Wesley Harris is going to sit out this play. Well, Budke plays defense, but he also is listed as a quarterback. Interesting to see if we have 2 quarterbacks on the field, whether they have a double pass situation. 8-0 is your score. Denny Bowman, Jeremiah Longnecker here at Peet Junior High. First quarter has nearly expired, and Holmes Tigers, after recovering a fumble at the Peet 12-yard line, able to punch it in, and they lead by the score and the 2-point extra point was good as well, that try. That came at the 3:16 mark of the first quarter. Just a gorgeous day here to play junior high football. Walsworth will be in an empty backfield by himself again. See 4 receivers to this near side, in fact. One tight the other way. It is to Budke. Budke looking downfield. Budke, he's going to be tackled. Pete's staff was yelling out double pass before the play, and receiver was well covered. That was Terwilliger, I believe, that was down the field again. Budke nearly got back to the original line of scrimmage, but now we're in a 4th and 16 situation, and the first quarter clock will expire. So after 8 minutes of play, battle between the Tigers goes to Holmes so far. We'll take a break. We'll be back with second quarter action. You're watching 7th grade football on Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15.
The Iowa High School Athletic Association is looking to add registered officials.
We have a large number of officials who are kind of reaching their sunset of their careers as officials, and we need a pool to replace those folks. We just need some young people to get involved and get active, and quite frankly, any age person to get in and get active again so that we can replenish the pool of officials that we've had for so long.
Go to iahsaa.org/officials for more information.
8 minutes to go on the second quarter. We're just underway. Teams have flipped sides. Holmes finds themselves in a 4th and 16 situation. Going into the wind, and at least, no. Fooled again. Walsworth looked like maybe he was in shotgun, but in fact they will punt it away. Again, Holmes punting into a little bit of a wind. Turnier is able to get it off. This low kick is taken. And in the hands of Dakari Simmons. Simmons has got some room to run. Simmons still on his feet, going down the left sideline. He's got a couple of blockers, but not able to avoid the tackle of Turnier. But it's Peet that flips the tables on this punt return. Excellent blocking by the Tigers. And now they have their best field position of the game so far. Just in case you missed it early, Peet comes in with a record of 4-1. Holmes with a record of 3-2. On paper, you take a look at their records and who they've played, scores have been remarkably similar to one another. Waverly Shellrock defeated both teams. Holmes was beaten by Hoover in a tight one, 16-14. Beat Hoover 12-8. Passes out. This is Simmons again. Simmons is able to get a few yards, and now we've got a flag on the field. So we've got illegal procedure, most likely not enough players on the line of scrimmage. So that gain, which was a nice gain on first down, will be nullified. And it'll be 1st and 15 for Peet. Quarterback Ben Girdman brings the play into the huddle. It's like Eli Oakland to the near side, one of the wide receivers. 3 receivers to the far side. Girdman, left-hander, throwing it down the field. He's got Simmons. Simmons in the middle of the field. Big play for Simmons. This one's going to cover, let's call it 25 yards for Simmons. Big completion. You get a chance to see why Peet really likes the arm of their quarterback, Ben Girdman. Simmons, the big punt return, and now with the first big pass play of the game. Now Peet's in business. 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line of Holmes. Landon Waseskuk, who plays offensive and defensive line, actually playing tight end on this play. It's the keep for Girdman, and Girdman's wrapped up after a short gain on the play. There's 77 for Holmes. Hezekiah Owens. And check that, Mason Smith wraps him up. Maybe half a yard on the play, bringing up 2nd and 10. Bowen McCarty in the backfield. And it's dropped. Oh, and we're going to have a sack. Getting into that backfield again for Holmes. Same player, that's Mason Smith. After the poor exchange, it's Smith who comes up with a huge play. It's a loss of 15 yards or so. Now Peet, which was in business, has a 3rd and very long. Check that. More like 3rd and 20. It's hard to tell exactly where that chain is. The Holmes players lined up across in front of them. High snap to Girdman. He's able to haul it in. Girdman throws it down the field. It's picked. Interception. Oh, the ball's loose again. Let's see who's got it. And it's Haro. Peet was able to get it back. So the interception, the ball being handled pretty loosely. And then the ball's off the fumble, gained back by Peet. So because of the possession for Holmes, and then giving it back, it's going to be 1st and 10 from Peet. So a strange turn of events. I didn't see for certain. That looked like maybe Drew Budke on the interception. Nonetheless, fortunate are the Peet Tigers, and they got a 1st down to go. Girdman throwing it down the field again, looking for Simmons. Oh, good coverage that time. And that's Luke Terwilliger on the coverage of Simmons. Both offenses opening it up and be 2nd and 10. Simmons described as having great hands, goes strong to catch the football. Even if he's covered, Nick Klein willing to throw it his direction. This time they're going the other direction. Pass down the field. It's tipped in. Not quite able to haul it in. They're going to say he did. I haven't seen a possession sign yet. Referees conferring. Referees continue to talk. They're going to say he did catch it. Still haven't given the signal. Now it is. So a great play. We'll see that on replay. Very difficult to tell. Looking into the sun, looking to the west here as to who came up with that. The ball was batted around, so I'm able to snag it before it hits the turf. Looks like Jackson Humple is the one who came up with the interception for Holmes. So now it's Holmes that finds itself at its own 3-yard line after the turnover. And it's just a quick quarterback keeper by Lincoln Walsworth just to try to get a little room, get some operating position away from that goal line. 2 yards on the carry for Walsworth, brings up a 2nd and 8. 4:40 to play in the opening half here at Peet Junior High. Holmes has gone with a lot of formations. We've seen the diamond formation, 4 receivers. We've seen trip formation. Now we're seeing the 2 tights, more of a power formation. That give is to Bryan again. Bryan with a little room to work, picks up 1, maybe 2, brings up 3rd and 6 for Holmes. Not a lot of running room for either team in this game so far. Teams have found the edges, a little damage through the air, but by and large, the defenses have been stout. Very difficult to gain yardage on the ground. See what Holmes decides to do here. Walsworth in shotgun formation. Walsworth looking down the field, and he just throws a dime down the field, but we're going to say an incomplete pass. The referee on the far side calls it an incomplete pass. He's going to confer. It certainly looked like a ball that was caught and then stripped away. Referees had a couple of plays like that here recently. Obviously do not have the benefit of any replay. We do have a player down. Brad Piercebaker. They're going to say an incomplete pass. Well, refereeing crew, after conferring, they come to their decision. It's not what I saw, but it will bring up a 4th and long for Holmes. I believe the chain gang is going to have to reset. They had already moved down the field, and without them, they're going to have to take a little bit of a guesstimation as to where those chains were. Xavier Walker Baruth comes off the field. He's dinged a little bit. Looks like as he takes more steps, he's walking a little bit better. He gets a round of applause, but Holmes going to have to punt this away. Last time Turnier punted, got into the hands of Dakari Simmons, and came up with a big return. Let's see if they decide to punt away from him this time. Time not an issue yet. Again, 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Plenty of time for either team who gets possession to score at this point. Kaysen Minal also back deep. It's one of the up men. Good snap this time. This one is going to hit the ground. Simmons trying to get a hold of it, and he does. Simmons able to get out of, no, he's not out of bounds. Check that. Simmons reverses field. He's coming about all the way across. Simmons now taken down. So talk about some excitement. Looked like Simmons was going to bound. He reverses field, says, not quite yet. Brings it all the way. And it looks like about the 30-yard line is where Peet will set up shop. They're trying to get on the board this afternoon. They still trail 8-0. Brian touchdown for Holmes at the 3:16 mark is our only score of the game. Followed it up with his own 2-point conversion, which is how we are at 8-0. Girdman in shotgun. He's pressured, throws it up, and nearly intercepted. Girdman had a man in his face trying to catch a number. For Holmes, it looked like it was number 9, Nathan Wyckoff, starting defensive end for the Tigers. Clock stops with the incompletion. 2nd and 10. Under center. 2 receivers wide, and we got, Titus. It bounces off one. Titus still going, and by far the best run that we've seen for either team. Titus absorbed a big hit, but stayed on his feet. He picks up 17-18 on the rush, and here comes Peet. 240 and counting. See if Peet decides to keep it on the ground after finding some space there. Give it to Titus again, over left tackle again. Titus spinning his way, still finding some room to move. And just like that, Ricky Titus became a factor on this drive. Couple of carries, 22, 23 yards for him. 7th grade rosters don't list weights, just heights. So Ricky will just say he goes 5 foot. It's Bowen McCarty along with Titus in the backfield. Back to pass. Good protection this time. Deep it goes. Ball's tipped up in the air. And it's a touchdown. Simmons able to go up and get it off the tip. Holmes nearly comes up with the interception, but it's Dakari Simmons who is able to gather it in. And Peet is on the board after the Simmons 21-yard touchdown reception. Simmons from Girdman. And now it's Peet that'll try to tie it up. Shotgun for Girdman. Girdman looking, retreating, fires it, and it's caught. Beautiful throw. This is Caleb Dickey on the 2-point try. So just like that, we've got a new ball game. Excellent drive by the Peet Tigers. Now it's Holmes' opportunity with 1 minute and 28 seconds to go in this half to go down and get some points and head to the locker room with a lead, which they've held for much of this first half. So kicking with the win for Peet, Nathan Smith. Smith got it up in the air. And it's mishandled momentarily, but then taken by Brian, and he's thrown backwards. So we've got a momentum shift in this one, as it's Holmes 1st and 10 from their own 20. Be interesting to see how both staffs handle the clock here. Whether Holmes is content to keep it on the ground and run out the first half clock, or they decide they're going to try to get points of their own to end this half and potentially allow Peet one more possession. And the shotgun is Walsworth. Walsworth swings it wide, but he is right there and hauled in by Weseskuk. And Landon Weseskuk, a huge play for Peet. Loss on the play, going to go all the way back to nearly the 10-yard line. So a loss of 10 brings up 2nd and 20. Nick Klein has decided to not use a timeout. Clock continues to run inside of 45 seconds. And you got to believe at this stage that Holmes is just going to keep the ball on the ground and hopefully let the half run out. Don't want to make a mistake here. Handoff up the middle, it comes. Turnier bounces off one guy. He's still on his feet. Turnier finally brought down after a nice gain. And now we have a timeout on the field. Let's see who called it. In fact, it was Holmes. So 19 seconds to go. Holmes with the timeout. They've got a 3rd and 7. Thought when the whistle blew, maybe that it was Peet going to try to force a Holmes punt and return one. But it's the Holmes staff that is confident about it. Let's see what kind of play they have for a 3rd and 7 with 19 seconds to go. It was Holmes that struck first. Bracky Bryan, the 3:16 mark of the first quarter, scored on a 12-yard run, followed it up with his own 2-point conversion. It was 8-0 until just moments ago when Peet was able to tie it up. Ben Girdman to Dakari Simmons for 21 yards. And the 2-point play, Girdman to Dickey. And that's where we stand right now. So 3rd and 7 for Holmes. 3 receivers to the wide side of the field. Just a tight end this direction. Single player in the backfield. The give is off. Looked like a fairly safe play, and now it's Peet that's going to call the timeout. Try to force Holmes to punt it away. Maybe go for a block or go for the big return. But 12 seconds to go. It's 4th and 5 for Holmes. Well, let's see what the Holmes staff decides to do. Brad Pierschbaker, Jerry Ward, and Kevin Keeker been making those decisions for the Holmes Tigers for quite some time. Turnier is deep. Tells me they're going to punt it away. Unless they were setting up some sort of fake that they have. Now Peet not buying it that they're punting it away entirely. They do have Simmons deep, and they have a couple players deep. So we'll see. Turnier punts it, far side, ball's rolling. Simmons going to draw it in. Simmons quickly tackled. Good play that time by Holmes. And that's Wesley Harris. We've called his name several times so far for Holmes. 4 seconds and change left. Some sort of Hail Mary situation for Peet or some sort of trick play. Got to be approaching delay of game for Peet. This has taken quite some time since we heard a whistle. A little bit of a roll, and the throwback, they're going to run a screen. Down the sideline goes Peet's Caleb Dickey. So it'll pad the stats a little bit, but it won't change the score in the first half of this game, and it's been a good one. Exactly what we expected here at Peet Junior High. It's Holmes and Peet tied 8 apiece. We'll have the intermission, and we'll come back with second half action. You're watching 7th grade football on Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15.
Cedar Falls Utilities really cares about our community, and that's what keeps us coming to work every day.
You know, a lot of people depend on their electricity and providing a reliable power, so we'll do whatever we can to make sure that happens and continues going forward.
We have to skip lunch to get their water back on. It's all about the customer. We'll sacrifice a little bit to get them what they need and get them going again.
We're always on call, so if something goes down, you know, we're going to be there. Somebody's going to show up and take care of what you need.
For nearly 50 years, Witham Auto Centers have been privileged to serve our communities with honesty, integrity, and trust. And you can trust that we make car buying easy at Witham Auto Center in Waterloo. From our selection of new Kias and Fords and pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to our factory-trained and certified service experts, we're ready to serve you at Witham Auto Center in Waterloo.
Everything we do is driven by you.
Holmes is going to get the football first in this second half. Not only that, they'll have the breeze that is prevailing in this stadium, if you'll call it, this field, behind them, or mostly behind them. Eight minutes for bragging rights for the rest of their lives in the Holmes and Peet 7th grade game. Coached football at the high school for 30 years, and I heard kids talking about the Holmes Peet game forever, arguing about it, you name it. It's a big deal. So Nick Klein, who's assisted by Jack Soley, Jason Bodensteyer, and Vendon Simmons, his team will be kicking off. End over end kick taken. And it's Brian. Brian looking for some room up the middle, weaving his way through, and he's able to get up to past the 45-yard line. So nice return by Holmes. They have some good position as they get started on their first drive of the second half. Holmes led through much of the first half, but Peet tied it late in the half. In 8-8, our score. Really interesting first half of play. Both teams, I'm sure, turned it over more often than they would like. One of those things they need to clean up. So it's Walsworth under center, in shotgun formation. He's got trip receivers to his left, tight end to his far right. Let's see what they've got up their sleeve. It's the give. Up the middle, little room to work. And Brian is able to slide forward. Looks like he's going to come up with a first down. So neither team ran it particularly effective. In fact, that was Turnier, not Brian. Neither team was able to get a lot going on the ground until late in that first half when Ricky Titus was able to find some room between tackles. And now it's Holmes that has its big first pickup between the tackles. They were able to find some room on the edges and the passing game here and there. But Holmes has yet to sustain a drive in this game. On their score, it was a short field. So trip receivers to the near side again. Same formation for Peet. This time they're going to throw it out. And they've got Brian. Brian with some room to run. Brian is able to get a nice pickup of the game. We'll see if they give him the first down. It's right at the chains or real close to them. And Holmes throwing that ball, I'm going to say dangerously behind the line of scrimmage. Didn't throw a double pass, but it was smelled out in a obvious situation. In fact, they'll give Brian the first down. So 2 plays, 2 first downs for Holmes. The adjustments that were made at half, good ones so far. Around Peet's 31-yard line. This time Walsworth goes under center. 2 tight end set. No, check that, unbalanced set. And they give up the middle. This is Turnier. He finds some room to run. You gotta love it when coaches go into halftime, make some changes. Team comes out and responds to those changes, and that's exactly what's happened. Quick pickup for Turnier. Let's call it 8, 2nd and 2. Coach's favorite down and distance. Everything in the playbook. In front of him for Kevin Keeker. Walsworth gets the play from Terwilliger. And the give. Oh, the ball's on the ground. Turnier and Walsworth not on the same page there. Holmes loses a couple yards, going to bring up 3rd and 6 off the bad exchange. Harris and Terwilliger check in. Wyckoff out. 2nd and 2, beautiful down. 3rd and 6. See if they decide to pick up just part of it, knowing that we're in 4 down territory. Oh, it's going to be a quarterback keeper, but well read. Really well read by the Peet defense. And that was Titus. Titus smelled that out. A little bit of a delayed quarterback keeper. It wasn't a sneak, if you will. Took 1 step back. Picks up maybe 2 on the strength of a Walsworth leaning forward. And now I've got 3rd and 3. Maybe 4. Check that, 4th and 3 or 4. Walsworth, stay in shotgun formation, pointing out some instructions. Trip receivers to the near side, and now Holmes realizes they've got some formation issues. They used their first time out of the half. So as Kevin Keeker comes out to talk to his team, we'll take a break and come back with this crucial 4th down on Channel 15. 4th, or we'll call it 3 for Holmes. First drive of the second half. They received the opening half kickoff. Same set, 3 receivers to the near side. Walsworth with Turnier. He's going to give on a little bit delayed handoff to Turnier. He's looking, looks like he is going to be held. One of the officials, 2 officials have already said that he is held short. Pickup of really nothing on the gain. So now it's Peet's first possession of the second half. See if they carry over some momentum after their score late in the first half and that good defensive stop. So a good start to that drive. And then a mishandled handoff on 2nd and 2 led to a turnover on downs. So now it's Ben Girdman and crew that will come out. Bowen McCarty at the fullback position. Ricky Titus has been the tailback throughout the game. Twin receivers on the near side are Simmons and Dickey. They're going to Simmons. Oh, he comes up with it. And Simmons is breaking away. Let's see if he's able to take it the entire way. He's being chased by Terwilliger. Is Terwilliger able to chase him down? He does. Read earlier in the notes from Nick Klein, we trust Dakari Simmons to go up and get the ball. That's exactly what he did there. Able to shed that initial tackler and take it all the way inside the 10-yard line. You got to credit Luke Terwilliger on never giving up on the play. Earl Simmons was headed for his 2nd touchdown of the game. It'll be 1st and goal at the 8 for the home team in black, the Peet Tigers. Handoff, quickly hauled in is Titus, and that's Turnier on the play. Huge play by Ty Turnier. We called a loss of 4. Brings up 2nd and goal from the 12. Let's see what Ben Girdman has in store here. The lefty's been sharp. Thrown a couple of picks. He's really settled in as of late on the last couple of drives. You got Dickey one way and Manal this direction. The toss out to Titus. Titus going to be tackled after a nice gain. Picks up the yardage that was lost. Titus running hard here. We do have a 3rd and goal from the 9 for Peet after the home staff attends to the injury. Jerry Ward, one of those out. Back in the late 90s, Cedar Falls celebrated the 100-year anniversary of Cedar Falls football. I was one of those that was honored to collect ballots and collect the votes to see who they considered the best players of all time. Jerry Ward on that list. And for the last 30 years or so, Jerry has coached youth sports at the junior high level and has been phenomenal. His own boys come through and play sports. Coached both of them. Kevin Keeker also there, along with Peet principal Bill Bavers, who was kind enough to drop off of water for me at halftime. So it is Terwilliger. I thought maybe that's who it was. Looks like you've come up, we'll go the hockey route, some sort of lower body injury. And it looks like Baruth will come in, check in for Terwilliger. It was a really nice game. 3rd and goal from the 9 for Peet. Manal this direction. Far side is Simmons. Simmons has been a weapon. Looking that way for Simmons. Ball's up in the air. Simmons, wasn't able to haul it in. Excellent throw that time by Girdman. He throws the fade to that back shoulder. Simmons has caught everything else, just not quite able to haul that one in. Tough duty out there on the corner, given the task of taking Simmons one-on-one. 4th and 9. Neither team has shown a kicking game so far. They're going to have to leave it to a 4th and 9 play versus an attempted field goal. Biggest play of the game so far. Now Simmons comes to this side. Manal goes to the far side. Dickey's in the backfield. On the slant they go, and this time it's Manal. Beautiful throw. Boy, you can really see why Ben Girdman took over this quarterback position. He has been on the money. A couple of dimes on his last 2 throws. This one, Manal hauls in, and he's got his first touchdown of the game, and Peet has its first lead of the ball game. 3:02 remaining in the third quarter. So the all-important 2-point play. Wyatt Mills into the game. He's the receiver on the far side. Dickey runs the slant, not able to find him, throws across his body. And they're gonna, oh my goodness, what an excellent throw, but we do have a hold on Peet. One of the players covering up the flag, I didn't see that. I thought the whistles were quick. Referees have done a nice job this afternoon. Not a lot of flags on the field letting the guys play. This must have been a relatively obvious call. So Peet, instead of going ahead 16-8, will have 12 yards to go in order to secure that 8-point lead. Big call. Peet's passing game has been awfully sharp in the last 8 minutes of game clock or so. Send trip receivers to the wide side. Single receiver to this side. I believe it's Nathan Smith. I can't know him. In fact, I am wrong. The slant, it's caught, but short of the goal line. Simmons stays on his feet, but forward progress had been stopped. So the 2-point conversion fails. We've got a single score ball game, 14-8. 2 pretty good possessions to start this second half for both teams. Holmes not able to cash in on it, but Peet is able to go against the wind via the pass mostly. The big play being the 60-yard play from Ben Girdman to Dakari Simmons. Manal hauls in the 9-yard touchdown pass on 4th down. And just like that, Peet has the last 2 scores and the lead 14-8. So Peet will be kicking off against the wind. Back to receive. Here's Brian, line drive right to him. Here comes Brian. Got blockers out in front. Oh. Front wall didn't help Brian out a lot, but Holmes will have 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line. Brian comes out holding his arm. Hopefully he's okay. He's been a big part of this offense so far for the Holmes Tigers. Kickoff took 8 seconds off the clock. 2:54 to go in the third quarter. Jeremiah Longnecker and Denny Bowman with you here at Peet on this gorgeous October afternoon. Great day to play today. Looks like the good weather for the week ends today, so it's excellent scheduling on the part of the school district. Holmes with 2 receivers to the near side, single receiver to the far side along with the tight end. Walsworth flanked, and we've got the jet sweep coming around the edge for a nice gain. That's a Xavier Baruth. A jet sweep becomes such a popular play. Holmes adds it to its repertoire. You'd be surprised to see that again. A pickup of 11 yards on the play. And Holmes at midfield. Holmes with a variety of formations. This time they go unbalanced again. And it's a give right up the middle. Turnier maybe going to get a yard. Going to bring up 2nd and 9. 2.5 minutes to go. See if the wind behind their backs plays any role in the play calling for Kevin Keeker as we near the end of the third quarter. Teams will flip side in the 4th. Peet will have that wind advantage. Now, as the sun starts to go down, we should see that breeze decline as well. So it may not be as much of a factor as this game nears its completion. Play action. Walsworth, couple of players in his face. Walsworth, nowhere to go. Wisely just gets rid of it. seen two good quarterbacks in this game. A couple of very capable 7th grade decision makers. It's 3rd and 9 for Holmes. Clock does come to a stop. Brian back in the game. That's good news for Holmes. Harris checks out. Coming to the near side. I believe it's Terwilliger. Far side is Brian. He hasn't come to a set position yet. He does way behind the line of scrimmage. 5 yards deep. Know what we have going on here. We've got that reverse, but this time it's smelled out. Weseskuk smelled it out. Brian able to weave through traffic. He's going to pick up, but he's still going. We're going to say 3 or 4 yards, but a great play by Landon Weseskuk. We've seen him come up with a couple of big ones. If it hadn't been for him, there's a lot of room to run. Weseskuk made Brian go a little bit deeper into his backfield before he picked up the yardage. Now we got a 4th and 6 for Holmes. And make that 4th and 11. False start on Holmes. Going to cost him 5 yards. So now it's decision time. You use the wind at your back to try to pin Peet deep. They've already done that in this game. Or do you use it to try to go up top and get that 11 yards? If not, they're going to give Peet awfully good field position. Give it to a team that already has momentum. Sure appears as though they're going to punt it away. Turnier. Deep to kick it. Again, Peet not entirely convinced. Oh, the snap's over his head. Turnier goes back to chase it down. It's not going to matter. Holmes picks it up. It's going to be Peet ball here regardless, but the snap over the head of Turnier ends up being a costly mistake as Peet now has 1st and 10 from Holmes' 33-yard line. The Holmes defense badly needs a stop here. Going down 2 scores makes it difficult. Holmes has not been able to sustain a long drive. The one touchdown they had, they recovered a fumble deep in Peet's territory, scored on the next play on a 12-yard reverse, and that's been it. They have gotten some chunk yardage plays here and there, but just haven't been able to sustain that. Under center is Girdman. Girdman gives, Titus stumbles, maybe stumbles forward for 3 yards. Call it 2nd and 7. Titus has been the workhorse for Peet in the ground game. Very little success early on, but he started to find some daylight at the beginning of this half, late in the first half, and then in this second half as well. See if they continue to feed him the ball, particularly while going against the breeze. 30 seconds, potentially the last play of the quarter for Peet. Getting set, Manal, the handoff, and really nice play. Excellent play. I believe that was Budke who came up and made the play for Holmes. It's going to be a no gain on the play. And that's going to do it for our 3rd quarter. We've got 8 minutes to play. Peet, 8 minutes away from bragging rights. We'll take a break and be back with 4th quarter action. You're watching 7th grade Holmes Peet football on Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15. Big 3rd down for the Peet Tigers as we start this 4th quarter of action. Just inside the Holmes 30. Peet has gone to the air time and time again. Big play receiver has been Dakari Simmons. Rolling out, looks like we're going to throw a little pseudo screenplay to Dickey. I don't think Dickey got the first down, but Dickey was able to avoid that first tackle and pick up a few yards and brings up a 4th and manageable situation. Been extremely impressed with both of these teams' ability to execute out of multiple sets. Saw another one there. We do have a player down on the far side, literally in a cloud of dust. It's hard to see initially. Don't see who that is. The old adage, a lot of coaches back in the day, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, been somewhat the case. Not a whole lot of rain to soften these fields, at least during the football season. As they attend to him, we'll take a break, come back with the 4th down play. Watching 7th grade football on Channel 15. Well, we do have an unsportsmanlike penalty as we come back. That's on Holmes. That's a big play. That's going to give Peet the 1st down. They were staring at a 4th down. The player who was down on the Peet sideline was Caleb Dickey. Again, this is nothing official. We haven't gotten reports, but it did appear he's holding one of his arms as he was coming off. That's hopeful. Anytime you see a player down, just hope it's not the worst, and Dickey was able to walk off. It doesn't appear as though he's going to be returning to this game. However, Peet's a score away from being in a awfully good position, and after the penalty, they're going to be 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. So Peet will call the play from the sideline and see what they come up with. Just one play into this 4th quarter after taking the break for the injury. Oh, we have a fumble that is covered up very quickly by Peet. Seen a couple of those exchanges now, one from each team. Right there was Bowen McCarty to cover it up for the Peet Tigers. However, they do lose a couple of yards. This is remarkably similar to last time they had 1st and goal from the 8. Lost 4 yards on 1st down. They were able to score eventually. We're hoping for the same sequence of events here. Girdman under center. Titus slides up a touch. Something didn't seem right there. Throwing the pass. It is caught. Thought we were going to get an illegal motion penalty, but there was no call made. Excellent coverage there, but the ball was just thrown too well over the top of Terwilliger. And hauling in his 2nd touchdown is Manal. And Girdman has himself through a 3-touchdown game. Upcoming 2-point conversion, trying to make it a 14-point game versus a 12-point game. Girdman retreating, throws a slant. It's intercepted, but you cannot return that for 2 points at this level of football. But nonetheless, Peet now with 3 scores in a row after the 12-yard pass from Girdman to Manal. And with 6:54 to play in this 4th quarter, Peet 20 and Holmes 8. Well, Holmes got things underway early, and they really controlled most of that 1st half. Just not able to convert on a 2nd score. Once the Peet Tigers are able to get on the board, they have controlled this game. Just lost 1 game this season, Holmes just 2. Kick is taken. Looks like Bryan again. Bryan to find some room up the middle. Bryan taken down, say at about the 40-yard line, and that's where Holmes is going to have to be in a little bit of a hurry. So they're going to say the 42-yard line is where they find themselves. So Lincoln Walsworth and crew got a couple of scores to make up and not a lot of time to do it. Just 6:47 remaining in the game. It's time to empty the playbook. Coaches, particularly players, enjoy this at times. Walsworth in shotgun. This time they're going to fake the jet sweep. And looking for the tight end. It's Mason Smith. But right there in excellent coverage for Peet was Grayson Zimmerman. Zimmerman not fooled by the fake jet sweep. 2nd and 10 now for Holmes. Terwilliger and Harris in the game as receivers. Running backs flanking Walsworth either way. This time they send it out. Oh, he's got some room. A nice move by Brian. Picks up about 5 on the swing pass. After a nice move to cut it back inside. Bring up a 3rd and 5 now. Now they're going to say 3rd and 6 for Holmes. Definitely in 4-down territory are the Holmes Tigers. Under 6 minutes now on the clock. Twin receivers to the near side, single receiver far side. Snap is back, under pressure is Walsworth. And Walsworth pressured hard by Peet's Major King Britt. One of those starters on that defensive line. Walsworth had a man open, just not able to get the kind of time that he needed in order to complete the pass. And he's been under a lot of pressure throughout the afternoon. And we got the biggest play to this point in the game. Peet trying to force Holmes to turn it over on a 4th and 7. If they were able to do this, they're going to be able to chew up some time, a couple of first downs. We'll seal it. If you're a football fan in Cedar Falls, you love watching these young kids. In just a few years, be playing in a new field, the new Cedar Falls High School. What hopefully will be Pat Mitchell Field. You get to see these names. We've been doing these junior high games in football and basketball. And to see these kids come up and see them star as high school players, it's very enjoyable. Lots of familiar names up and down the rosters of these two schools. Some of them are the kids of teachers, some are the younger siblings of brothers and sisters who have already contributed to high school sports. Walsworth giving some final instructions. Done a really nice job as a game manager. He's got Brian far to the left. We've seen this a couple of times. Walsworth under pressure, swings it out. Oh, it's a little low, a ball that could have been caught. Brian not able to haul it in. So it's Holmes that turns it over on downs, and Peet with an opportunity to seal this one away. Well, it looks like Holmes maybe a person short on defense, or maybe one too many. Peet just going to try to seal this one away on the ground. We see a lot of Ricky Titus in this series if Peet gets its way. Handoff is to Titus. He comes her off. Left tackle, Titus spinning his way a couple of times. Titus able to pick up big chunk of yardage. They're going to say just shy of the first down. 2nd and short for Peet. And this Peet offensive line has just done a fabulous job in the latter stages of this game. Landon Wasescook, Hayden Bowman, Isaac Kramer, Major King Britt, Carson Rodriguez, Grayson Zimmerman at the tight end position. We've talked about the skill kids. These guys up front just gotten better and better throughout this game. 2nd, a long yard, and it's Titus again. Titus finds another hole off that left side. It's Bowman and Wasescook doing the work along with Kramer. And you got big Bowen McCarty helping to clear the way on those lead plays. Peet picks up the first down, but more importantly for them, clock just continues to run. 4.5 minutes to go in this one. Holmes really can't afford to give up another first down. Becomes pretty difficult at that point in time to make their way down the field and score 2 touchdowns. Peet goes to that pro set. A little bit of a miscommunication, and we're going to have another holding call. Titus was looking for the toss. Girdman thought it was a long handoff. Regardless of the situation in the backfield, got a penalty against Peet, so that's going to march them back 10 yards, brings up 1st and 20 for the men in black. Peet looking for that 5th win of the season against just a single loss. They've been impressive. Titus on the handoff again is off the left edge, picking up big chunks of yardage. He's brought down, but not before he picks up close to the penalty yards. They're going to give him 9 yards on the play, so 2nd and 11. And at this rate, Pete's not just looking to seal this one away. They might put another score on the board. Closing in on the 3-minute mark. Titus slides up. Titus able to get rid of the ankle tackle, maybe pick up another yard or 2. Now it's Holmes that will use one of its timeouts and brings up a 3rd and we'll call it 10. 2:55 to play in the ball game. Gives me an opportunity to wrap up what's happened here, but also to thank the coaches. We really appreciate the Peet staff for accommodating us here. Nick Klein, Jack Soley, Jason Bodensteiner, Vendon Simmons, and for their help talking to us about their players, giving starting lineups and so forth. Obligations they're not really used to, but they were so gracious in doing so from the Peet side. And from Holmes, Brad Pierschbaker, Jerry Ward, Kevin Keeker for doing the same. It's really hard to sound like I know what I'm talking about if I don't have the names, positions, all of those guys. So I really appreciate their work. And of course, Bill Bavers and the Peet staff for being so accommodating and letting us do the game from here. Holmes got the scoring started with a Bracky Bryan 12-yard run, but then 3 consecutive touchdown passes by Ben Girdman. The first one to Dakari Simmons, the second 2 to Kaysen Manal. That's where we stand right now, 20-8. Handoff goes. Hard hit by Budke, but staying on his feet is Titus. We've seen some hard hits in this ball game. We do have a penalty flag down. There was a preliminary indication, but I did not see what it was. The officials were the white hat was amongst some players. From the looks of it, Peet has moved forward. It looks like maybe it is on Holmes. Potentially a face mask. A costly penalty for Holmes. And what looked like the slimmest of hope probably dashed was now Peet just going to be able to salt this game away on the ground and run the clock out. Hand off to Titus. Titus holding on tightly with 2 hands as he gets a big chunk of yardage. I think the inevitable is set in for Holmes. A number of players have taken to the bench, some on their knees, and realized that this one's probably not going to end in their favor. Closing in on the 2-minute mark. 2nd down and 3. Looks like Pete's just going to keep on feeding Ricky Titus. If he's not to 20 carries, he's got to be close. Peet, interestingly, throws it here on 2nd and 3. That does stop the clock. It's unexpected. Now 3rd down and 3. The clock stops, 1:47 to play. McCarty on the left side gives it to Titus. Titus goes in, and we've got a touchdown. So the first touchdown on the ground for Peet as Ricky Titus scores from about 14 yards out. The little icing on the cake for the Peet Tigers. They score their 4th consecutive touchdown, 26-8. Go for 2. They got their first 2-point conversion. Have failed on their last 2 attempts. See where they go here. Just a handoff to Titus. Titus can be dragged down short of the end zone. The run fails, but Peet with a commanding 26-8 lead with just 1:40 to go on the clock. For Holmes, looks like they'll go on to defeat for the 3rd time this season. First 2 pretty tight. Lost to Hoover, 16-14 game. And that was a little bit controversial. It sounds like the holding call on a touchdown late in that game cost Holmes that potential win. And a tough one to Waverly Shell Rock, 14-0. They haven't absorbed this kind of loss in this season. So Peet to kick it off. Nathan Smith to do the honors, a little squib kick. Dropped momentarily and now taken. Coming trying to find the right end is Brian. Brian cuts it upfield. We got a flag on the play. So this one's coming back regardless of the result here. We got a flag and a hat. We got stuff all over the field. So we've got offsetting penalties. We've got a face mask. We've got a hold. I'm surprised they're not retrying the kick. So they're going to give Holmes the football at Peet's 43-yard line after that nice return by Bracky Bryan. Now we'll see if Kevin Keeker decides to get a late touchdown to kind of mask the score. Guess we'll find out after this play. Walsworth in shotgun. Receives the snap. Walsworth's going to try to go up top. Walsworth chased down. He's going to be sacked. I think there was maybe a little bit of a break in communication. I don't believe that Luke Terwilliger thought it was a pass. He didn't really run a route there, and I thought Walsworth was looking his way. Unfortunately, ends up in about a 13-yard loss. Clock continues to run. We're inside a minute, now 45 seconds. 2 receivers, and now Brian to the far side. Seen this formation a number of times. Just hand it off, and coming around the right end with some speed. And it looks like we're going to have a touchdown. In fact, we do. It's a 55-yard touchdown run for Ty Turnier. So although Holmes is not going to win this game, Turnier gets himself on the scoreboard with a 55-yard run. Comes with 20 seconds remaining in this 4th quarter. Ended up being a 2-score game unless something crazy happens. Under center is Walsworth. Snap bobbled momentarily. Walsworth is able to deliver with a guy hanging on him. Excellent throw by Lincoln there. He had Ashton Rottinghouse all over him. So the 2-point conversion is good. Brings it to 26-16. A lot of instructions being shouted out by Jerry Ward and Kevin Keeker. I don't know if those are instructions about an onside or personnel, but we'll find out here. Pete's certainly going to send a lot of guys close within that 10-yard of where they're allowed to line up, expecting that onside kick. A lot of confusion. Peet sends somebody off and are right back on again, just like a yo-yo. Here comes the onside, and it's quickly recovered. Peet's Isaac Kramer in the front row of that onside team. Kramer's the center. You don't see a lot of centers in the front of the hands team, but I suppose Kramer handles the ball all the time on the snaps, and he handles it here, and that should do it. Imagine that Peet would just take a knee, run the rest of this clock out. Just 18 seconds to go. Well, one play will do the trick. Well, Girdman under center. Clock goes, Girdman takes a knee, and that will do it. So the 2023 version of the Holmes Peet 7th grade game goes to the home team. It's a really fun game to watch, much more fun if you're a Peet fan, if you're a home game. But if you're a neutral observer like myself, it was really fun to see the talent that will occupy the Cedar Falls football uniforms in the relatively near future. Got to see a lot of kids who can do things on the field. Saw some nice quarterbacking, receiving was good. Really did a nice job along those offensive fronts and some big hits on defense. Well, as the coaches come out and exchange pleasantries and talk, of course, longtime friends, that will do it for us. For Denny Bowman, I'm Jeremiah Longnicker. Thank you for spending some time with us. Have yourself a great day.